All right, so Jussie Smollett has been found guilty for staging an attack on himself. Now, a jury convicted Jussie of disorderly conduct for making fake reports to police after he claimed he was a victim of a hate crime. But the jury sided with the Osundaro brothers, who said Jussie hired them to stage the attack. Now, after the verdict, Special Prosecutor Dan Webb said Jussie only hurt his case by testifying on the stand. Listen to what Jussie had to say.
Now that he's compounded his wrongdoing by lying to a jury, which they've obviously determined from the verdict today, he's compounded his misconduct in this city, and we'll let the judge decide what to do.
So we do have, first let me read this. The charge comes with a prison sentence of up to 3 years. The defense said it would appeal. So, of course, to talk more about this, we've got legal expert. We are joined by former prosecutor, veteran trial attorney, and, of course, friend of the show, Mark Eiglarsh. So good to see you, Mark. How are you?
What's up? What's up?
I'm choosing to be wonderful, and it's great to see all of you.
Oh, well, you're always wonderful in my books, Mark. Don't read into that. Okay. Okay, so Mark, what are your thoughts on what the special prosecutor said about Jussie taking the stand? And in your legal opinion, while you were watching, do you believe it hurt his case?
Okay, it didn't hurt his case because his case was going to be a loser anyway. He needed to take his acting chops and try to save his you-know-what, and he couldn't do it. So he had to testify. Where I agree with the prosecutor is that he compounded the harm that he did to himself and everybody else by taking the witness stand and lying. So I think that the judge should consider that when he's deciding what appropriate sentence he should dole out.
So while we're talking about that statement, because that statement read to me, compounding it, as if had he not taken the stand, then perhaps he could have been facing probation or some lesser charges. But because he took the stand and essentially perjured himself, possibly, that he could actually see jail time. So, of course, the city of Chicago is asking him to pay $130,000 back for the cost of the investigation. So do you think he'll see jail time, and do you think him taking the stand has something to do with that?
Okay, so I never think a defendant should be punished for exercising their cherished constitutional rights to testify. What I think he should be punished for is, number one, wasting thousands of hours of precious law enforcement resources, having them deal with his fraud, as opposed to dealing with the violence that's in their city to be investigated, wasting millions of dollars of law enforcement resources, and worst, here's what bothers me the most. Future victims will unnecessarily have their words scrutinized, more so because of what he did. And I challenge you, Erica, I challenge Samantha, I challenge all of you to come up with a set of facts for disorderly conduct for which he's charged that are worse than what he's done. So if the legislators think 3 years in prison is appropriate under certain circumstances when you're convicted of this offense, you tell me why this case isn't that case.
Well, that's going to lead right into my question, because, you know, disorderly conduct is normally a slap on the wrist.
Right.
So maybe the prosecution needs to say what you just said to get him jail time. What do you think the judge will need to hear to say this isn't going to be a slap on the wrist this time? This was so egregious, you might see jail time. And if so, how much do you predict?
So everything I just said, add to the following argument that the prosecutor should make. And that includes, but not limited to, this guy doesn't seem to get it. His ego is not his amigo. He's so arrogant and doesn't accept his guilt, and worse, thumbs his nose at the system. Judge, if there's ever someone who needs prison time, it's this guy.
And Jeff, I know you have a question. I have to ask this really quickly. What would you have said if Jussie came to you with this case? Would you have told him to even go to court with this, or would you say this is embarrassing, you need to settle? Just from a lawyer, like, what would you have told him?
I would tell him what I tell my other clients when the evidence seems to be overwhelming and he seems like the only person in the room who thinks that he's going to walk. I show him the hard facts. I explain to him, look, I've been doing this 30 years in spite of my youthful appearance. I've tried over 150 jury trials, and I think you were not framed like the Mona Lisa like you're alleging. I think that you are going to be found guilty. That said, if you want your day in court, there's nobody better than me, and I'll give you your day in court. But I try to convince them that it's in their best interest to resolve it short of risking their liberty, because now he's facing some real time.
All right, Mark, let's switch gears. I wanted to get this in with Ghislaine Maxwell trial. I'm so far down the rabbit hole on this case, maybe too far with Jeffrey Epstein. I want to get your take so far. But the question I want to ask you personally, Mark, is if there was smoke, meaning presidents, princesses, other important people, would we have known by now? Would have Ghislaine taken that and used it in her defense?
No. This is somebody who wants to win this outright. We also don't know that the prosecutors want to value what she's saying. Think about it. If someone's indicted because of her word, let's say I'm representing that person, I will destroy her. I will make her look like the liar that she is. She'll say her father or mother was involved just to get herself out of this. That's how much time she's facing. So her value to the public is a little bit, I don't know, inflated. I don't know that she has the value, especially because she's professed her innocence from day one.
Hey, Mark, given the fact that, you know, you're in Florida, you were practicing this whole time in Miami while, you know, we all have heard of this story, right, the Jeffrey Epstein story recently. But when you were there, did you hear a lot of inklings about it just because you're within that whole justice system over there?
Yes. And the rumblings that you're hearing, both in the media and in the legal world, is what an amazing outcome that guy got. Wow. Epstein avoided extensive prison time, at least initially, on the deal that he got. Wow, I want that lawyer. And unfortunately, I wasn't involved in the case, but it sends a message that it's, you know, we live in a capitalistic society, and who has money buys the best lawyers, and those best lawyers have the best access and can persuade prosecutors to give the best deals. He got an unbelievable deal initially.
I was going to
Go for it. Yeah, I have a million conspiracy questions. Maybe we should stick to the facts.
Well, this happened today, and this might interest you as well. They said that the prosecution, their fourth and final kind of star witness, did not testify today against Ghislaine. Do you think that's going to further aid her, or maybe that'll be what kind of gets her off the hook in this situation?
It ain't getting her off the hook. She's going to be found guilty. If the prosecution didn't call that witness, it's because the prosecution felt, you know what? We've proven our case. We don't need to. Or that witness, for whatever reason, wasn't going to cooperate still. But my guess is that the type of testimony, void of any bias, motive, or true interest in wanting to lie, shows how much she hurt them. These people, I think, are compelling, and I think this is a guilty verdict just ready to happen.
Mark, one more conspiracy question. I got to squeeze it in here. If there were people involved,
Guys, please help him. Help him when we're done with this interview. Please help
I'm not interested in the law. I'm interested in fake facts. I want to know if there were high people involved and they did have some dirt. I know you know the story about how they're videotaping every room in Jeffrey Epstein's house. They have the ledgers from the planes. Would we have known by now? Would Ghislaine have come forward in her defense, or is that off the table now and that's just conspiracy moving forward?
No, let's play this out so we can make you happy, Jeff. Let's say she's convicted. She's facing decades in prison. That's going to be the time where she's going, oh, my God, this has been torture for me. I don't want to spend another day here. Tell the prosecutors we want to set down a meeting for a debriefing. Give me a queen for a day letter where nothing I say will be used against me again. And let me tell you everything. And then the prosecutors will determine whether what she's saying is of value. Can it be supported by the evidence? And then, Jeff, you get your fantasy. All these major people get convicted. Yay!
Let's do it. Let's throw a wrench in the world.
Oh my gosh! I never thought I'd hear Mark Eiglarsh and Jeff talking about fantasy.
I think we're gonna be me and you, Mark. We gotta go out one time.
I already said that you two are the same person.
He's just a little bit smarter. That's all.
You guys have the same hair too. Pretty similar hairstyles. You
All
both
right,
love
are we
Jason
done?
Mraz.
Are we done with the legal part? Are we done?
Yeah, we're all done with
You're
that.
both in the same outfit.
But those are
It's too
facts,
much.
Mark. Those are
Okay.
facts.
Yeah. All right, Mark. We love you. We appreciate you. Thank you for
Absolutely.
joining us here at DBL. For more information on Mark and his law firm, go to speaktomark.com. Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, man.